My name is Amelia, and I'm 46 years old. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine my life would take such an unexpected turn. The story I'm about to share is unlike anything you've ever heard before. Stick around until the end of this video because I have a surprise for you. Let's get started. From the outside, everyone assumed I had the perfect life. My husband, Henry, was a successful businessman in the finance world, and after 18 years of marriage, we were seen as the ideal couple. But behind the flawless image, no one could see the cracks forming in our relationship. Over the years, Henry had become a workaholic and our marriage grew colder. Our conversations became superficial, focused on daily routines, leaving me feeling lonely and yearning for the passion we once had. Everything changed when Caleb Henry Stepson from his first marriage moved in with us. Caleb, 25 years old and fresh out of graduate school, decided to stay with us temporarily as he began his career. He was quiet, sensitive, and thoughtful, bringing a calm energy into our home that I hadn't felt in years. Around the same time, Henry's nephew, Adam, came to stay with us for a few weeks. Adam was just a few years younger than Caleb, but completely different in personality. He was lively, witty, and bold, with a carefree attitude that made me laugh and feel youthful. Suddenly, my life was filled with a new energy I didn't realize I was missing. One evening, while Henry was away on a business trip, I sat with Caleb and Adam in the living room after dinner. We were having drinks, sharing stories, and laughing together. Adam's humor was infectious, and Caleb's quiet attentiveness felt deeply comforting. At one point, Adam turned to me and said, "Amelia, you're such a great listener. Talking to you feels so comforting." His words touched me in a way I hadn't felt in years. As the evening went on, Caleb opened up about his past struggles and his desire for inspiration in life. When our eyes met, I felt a spark I couldn't ignore. Those moments with Caleb and Adam awakened something inside me I thought was lost forever. In the following days, I found myself spending more time with Caleb and Adam. Caleb's thoughtful conversations made me feel seen and understood, while Adam's bold humor brought excitement and joy back into my life. However, these newfound feelings left me conflicted. One afternoon, while Adam was cooking in the kitchen, a moment of closeness between us left me breathless, the tension undeniable. Similarly, during a quiet afternoon with Caleb, the way he looked at me stirred emotions I couldn't suppress. I was torn between Caleb's quiet, introspective nature and Adam's energetic, passionate personality, but in their presence, I felt more alive and free than I had in years. One afternoon, the three of us decided to have a barbecue in the garden. As we laughed, joked, and shared deep conversations, I realized how differently each of them affected me. With Caleb, I felt a deep emotional connection, rediscovering a part of myself I had long forgotten. With Adam, his lively energy and boldness reignited a sense of fun and passion I had been missing. Both men filled voids in my life in ways I couldn't deny, and I realized I didn't want to choose between them. One evening, unable to contain my emotions any longer, I confessed my feelings to both Caleb and Adam. I told them how much each of them had come to mean to me. Caleb, with his quiet sensitivity, admitted he felt the same way, while Adam, Ever the carefree spirit, embraced the unconventionality of the situation. That night, a new chapter of my life began. I didn't know where this journey would lead, but one thing was certain: I could never return to my old life. The bond I shared with Caleb and Adam made me feel more alive and empowered than I had ever felt before. That evening, as we sat together sharing wine and music, I felt the tension that had built over days finally lift. The melody of the song in the background seemed to mark the beginning of a new, uncharted path in my life. At first, our conversation was lighthearted and innocent. We talked about life, the future, and shared memories. But after a few glasses of wine, the discussion grew deeper. Adam leaned in and quietly said, "Amelia, talking to you is always captivating. It's like time stops when we're together." His words caught me off guard but made my heart race. Caleb chimed in, agreeing, "He's right, Amelia. Being around you feels comforting, like the weight of the past melts away." The sincerity in their voices and expressions intensified the connection between the three of us in that moment. Adam then stood, turning up the music. "After all this wine, we can't just sit, we should dance," he said, extending his hand. I smiled, took it, and joined him. His playful movements made me laugh, yet his touch reignited feelings I hadn't experienced in years. Watching us, Caleb approached with a grin. "Don't leave me out of the fun," he said, gently placing his hand on my waist and joining the dance. Between the two of them, I felt as though my movements became a game of connection. Adam's touch was confident and lively, while Caleb's was calm and steady, yet equally powerful. As the dance slowed, Caleb leaned closer, his gaze locking with mine, drawing me in. At the same moment, Adam stood behind me, his breath brushing against my neck. The warmth and closeness between us transcended words, as if time had paused. Caleb ran his fingers softly through my hair, while Adam's hands rested gently on my waist, pulling me nearer. The intensity of their gestures spoke louder than anything we could say. The wine seemed to dissolve our inhibitions, leading Caleb to lift my hand to his lips in a tender gesture that left me mesmerized. Adam's eyes met mine, and he whispered, "Amelia, I'll never forget this moment." That night, with every touch and glance, our emotional and physical boundaries dissolved. It was as if we were writing a story with our actions, a story of connection, passion, and understanding. As the music ended, the living room fell silent, except for the sound of our breaths. Caleb broke the silence, his sincere gaze meeting mine. "What makes this night special isn't the wine," he said, his words affirming what I already felt. Adam gestured for me to sit beside him on the couch. "Amelia, I think we've all needed a night like this for so long," he said. His voice, usually playful, now carried a deeper, serious tone. As I sat between them, their presence filled a void I hadn't realized was so vast. Adam gently touched my face, whispering, "How could someone as beautiful as you ever feel lonely?" His words stirred emotions I'd buried long ago. Caleb moved closer, softly saying, "You're not alone anymore. We're here." His sincerity brought tears to my eyes as I felt enveloped by the love, passion, and connection I'd been longing for. Caleb held my hand, squeezing it gently, while Adam stroked my hair, each gesture deepening the bond between us. As the evening continued, Caleb laughed and suggested opening another bottle of wine, but Adam, with a playful grin, said, "No need for more wine, we're already drunk on the night we laughed together," the lightness of the moment contrasting the depth of what we were experiencing. Leaning back on the couch, I closed my eyes, feeling Adam's breath on my neck and Caleb's hand holding mine. Their combined presence filled me with a joy and excitement I hadn't felt in years. That night, every moment, every glance, every touch cemented the connection between us. For the first time, I surrendered completely to my feelings, no longer bound by fear or uncertainty. As dawn broke and light filled the room, Caleb and Adam had fallen asleep. Watching them, I felt no regret. Instead, I realized that this night marked the beginning of a new chapter. My past loneliness was replaced by a sense of wholeness, and I knew that nothing in my life would ever be the same again. The warmth in the room lingered, and having Caleb and Adam by my side made me realize how much of my life had fallen into routine. I thought of all the things I had sacrificed over the years. Yet tonight it felt like I had reclaimed a piece of myself that had been lost. Adam slowly opened his eyes and looked at me. "Amelia, this night feels like a dream, and I don't think I want it to end," he said softly. His words echoed the deep connection we had shared, reigniting something powerful within me. Caleb moved closer, gently placing his hand on my shoulder. "Adam's right," he said, his voice warm and sincere. "This night is just the beginning. Getting to know the real you, Amelia," is an honor. His words, coupled with the gentle pressure of his hand, made my heart race. The mix of the wine, the atmosphere, and their presence left me completely overwhelmed by emotion. It felt as if our closeness had crossed an invisible threshold, leaving no room to turn back. Adam reached out, brushing his hand across my face as his eyes met mine. "Touching you, being near you, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced," he said, his voice filled with genuine emotion. Caleb stood behind him, his gaze steady and a soft smile on his lips, as if silently reinforcing the bond we were building. Adam stepped closer, running his hand gently through my hair, while Caleb's hand trailed softly along my back. In that moment, I surrendered to the intensity of being between them, feeling as though I was caught in a perfect balance of connection. Every movement felt like it carried a natural rhythm, a kind of artistic harmony. Caleb and Adam's gestures seemed to flow in sync, each touch and breath deepening the charged atmosphere. The light from a nearby wine bottle reflected softly, highlighting Caleb's hand on my waist and Adam's fingers on my face. In those fleeting moments, a voice inside me whispered that this was an experience I would never forget. What we shared transcended the physical. It was a bond built on understanding, passion, and harmony. The rest of that night unfolded in a way that words could never fully describe. Our connection was expressed not through speech but through glances, touches, and movements, all of it flowing effortlessly. For now, I'll pause the story here. What comes next is even more beautiful and thrilling. If you'd like to hear the continuation of my story, please subscribe. I'm certain you'll love the second part of this journey.